Greetings, Judah. DFG here, Gideon's Flight. Hey, guys. First, before I go into any of this particular message that I want to share, this is not to promote the United States military, okay? I just want to be clear here. You know, I know some of our young brothers and sisters are in the services because there weren't many other options granted to our people, you know, in this wicked nation, other than to go that route, just to be able to at least try to gain a foot up. So, I just want to be clear here. I am not promoting, any kind of military service, and to be honest with you, if this was a righteous nation, our people would be able to serve Yah and have the same advantages others have without having to resort to becoming, a weapon for this nation in order to be able to keep bread on their table. So that's all. This message is not about that, but I want to make sure. If we're in the army, we're in the army of Yeshua, all right? And for you brothers and sisters who are serving, let me say this to you. Keep in the back of your mind, your war is against wickedness, all right? Your war is against the rulers of the darkness of this world, regardless of what uniform you have on. Just keep that in mind. Do not let these wicked leaders inside of your particular branch of service drive you into doing anything that's wicked or supporting any of their evil and wickedness. Use this opportunity, to teach the word. Use this opportunity to set the captives free. Okay? I'm talking about that opportunity. Now on with the message. All right. Something it bothered me, and I'm going to say who said it, TCA. And what bothered me is that he got into this whole big old thing in his last message around, we can't speak with, any kind of, aggressive tones, and because it's going to make us look bad, and it gives the evil ones amongst us justification, to demean our message. That is sheer silliness. And I'm a little disappointed at the brother to go down that road, because this brother, in my opinion, is a great researcher. Does a lot of good research around the history of our people, and in terms of who they were, where they were, etc. But then every now and then the brother kind of goes off the chain or goes off the right path, and he gets into this over religious, sugary foolishness. And what I mean by that is sharing with people that, a man or a woman of Elohim is not supposed to use any kind of strong words, and they're not supposed to be aggressive. And wait, time out. Let me time out for him, but more importantly, let me enlighten you. Okay? Let me enlighten you. Let me read a few things for you, and then I'm going to end this message. Okay? Because I want you to understand the rahuk that's in every true believer. And if you're a follower of Yeshua, now I hope you mean that in the way that you follow Yeshua as Yeshua followed Elohim. The way he followed Yahuwah. All right, but anyway, if you're a follower of Yeshua, then let me share a few things with you about Yeshua. This is gospel, okay? Go to Matthew chapter 23. And I'm going to read to you verse 32 and 33. This is what he says. He said, fill you up the measure of your fathers. In other words, meet the expectations of your fathers. Exceed it if possible, in terms of your walk with Elohim. He says, and he tells them, he says, you serpents, you generation of vipers, how can you escape the damnation of hell? Now tell me something. Does that sound effeminate or sugary or emasculated to any of you all who are listening to me? Again, this is Yeshua speaking. Go to the Gospel of Brosura of Matthew, chapter 23, verse 33. This is him speaking. You serpents. You know what calling somebody a serpent? That's the equivalent of calling somebody a snake, a devil. He said, you serpents, you generation of vipers. He said, not only are you a snake or a deadly snake, everybody in your generation is nothing but a bunch of snakes. Now help me find sugary in this. Help me find the love, sweet, we just got to love one another in this. Because this is Yeshua talking. All right? He says, you serpents, you generation of snakes. How can you escape the damnation of hell? In other words, your asses are going to go to hell. Now, this is what Yeshua is saying. But when one of us speak with the same message or the same strength of words, we're accused of being vulgar, unchristian. And this same brother start talking about, if you're in the church and you're a Christian, then why are you preaching a Christian doctrine, brother? I'm just asking you the question now. Because when you start preaching this, love everybody because you want to be an example for Yeshua, then I don't know where you got that from, because the Yeshua that is in the book was a man of war. He said, I didn't come to bring peace. I came to bring a sword. Now go look that up. He said, I didn't come to bring peace. I came to bring a sword, that a brother would be against his own father and mother. You can read it. Go look that up. But let's not stop there. Now let's go over to the book of Luke. All right? The Basura or Gospel of Luke. Let's go to chapter 13. Let's go to verse 35. Yeshua speaking again. He said that, let's go to 34. He says, salt is good, but if the salt has lost its savor, means flavor, how can it still season things? And he goes on to say, says, neither good for land, nor yet for the dunghill, for men to cast it out. He that had an ear, let him hear. He's saying shit hill. Dung is the same word as shit, manure. All right? And he's talking to these people, so he couldn't have found a better word. He could have said, if you're not full of vigor and energy, and you don't have a passion and a commitment for this walk, for this faith, then you like, I don't know, something that's just not any good, something, that maybe that's rotten and you can throw it away. No, he said dunghill, shithill. Yes, your loving, sweet Jesus. But see, our masculine, Yeshua, he spoke like a man of Elohim. His voice had thunder in it. His voice had conviction and passion with it. And he wasn't going around here finding little sweet smelling words to make you feel good with your wicked asses. He did it for shock. He wanted to wake us up. He uses his prophets, his teachers, his messengers this very day to wake us up. Enough of this lullaby. Lullabies lure people to sleep. Truth wake them up. And truth is powerful. It's like a two-sided sword. It cuts both ways. Okay, let me give you more. All right? Come on, you can take one more, I'm sure. Because his sweet Jesus is not my powerful Yeshua. Let's go to the book of John, verse 2. The Gospel, Basura of John. And I'll start at verse 14. And he found them in the temple that was selling oxen and sheep and doves and handling money. Just like you see in many of these churches selling breakfasts, selling tickets for banquets, all this kind of food they do for Passover celebration and, for Easter, for food. All this shit they're doing in there. This is what he says. He says, and he made a scourge. So in other words, he got a rope and he tied knots into this rope. And guess what he did? Guess what your sweet little Jesus did with this rope? For all of you out here talking about this loving Jesus, what would Jesus do? Let me tell you what your sweet little Jesus did. He tied knots into a rope, and then he beat them out of the temple. In other words, he whipped their asses and ran them out of the temple. Yes, your sweet little Jesus got some rope, an extension cord, whatever you want to call it, put knots in to make sure it was going to have a brutal impact. And he whipped their asses and ran them out of the churches. Oh yeah, that's what your Jesus did. Oh, excuse me, your made up Jesus sung lullabies and said, no, let's not offend anybody. But my masculine, Yeshua, the Messiah of Israel, oh no, he beat their asses trying to marginalize the message, trying to use the message for self-gain. Oh yeah, and not only that, let's finish up that same verse. Again, John chapter 2, verse 15. And he tied knots in a rope, and he beat them out of the temple, and the sheep and the oxen, and then he poured out the money changers and the money and threw over their tables. So not only did he beat their asses out of there, he got violent, started throwing things around. Threw the table over, running the sheep out of there, running the people out of there, took their money, threw their money out all on the floor, all over the place. In other words, he was out of control, as you would call it, many of you. So let me tell you something. I don't want to hear nothing with anybody talking about your voice is too strong, your message is too harsh. You're a lying devil. You got a demon in you. You're pushing the same lying agenda that these so-called Catholics and Protestants and all of them pushed on our people when they came to conquer our land. This love that they came as a wolf, as a sheep, but in their hearts they were wolves, raving wolves, mad wolves. And you're trying to preach that same lie to us and telling us, all you guys who preach that same sweet Jesus message, and you ladies too, you're trying to push the same lie that our oppressors pushed on our ancestors that's got us caught up in this snare of colonization, enslavement, and every other atrocity that was pushed upon us, and most of us are still under that same, curse of, letting our oppressors oppress us in the name of love. Turn the other cheek. No, our law says an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, a hand for a hand, and a life for a life. That is the law of the Israelites, the gospel of the heathens, the Gentiles. That's this lie. Because they preach that lie and they never practice any kind of love. When you do something to these heathens or you do something to these Gentiles, they will drop nuclear bombs on your ass. They will bomb your nation with drones. They will put diseases all on your ass. They will go mass genocide, give your people smallpox, give your people, syphilis, telling them that it's just, some other kind of blood disease, and let them rot for 60, 70 years or a whole generation. That's what your Christian effeminized, emasculated devil doctrine says and does. So no, we the men and women of Elohim, we will speak strong, we will speak with conviction, and we will stand on it till death do us part. After all, that is what the Messiah did. Yes, he fought with his hands violently, and he fought with his words, again, violently. He said there was a war in the kingdom of Elohim, and the violent took it by force. What war? Michael and Lucifer. And Michael whipped his ass violently and threw him down into the earth. And now he's coming down here with his cowardly ass, using many of you out there, the ones who preaching this love. Oh, you got to speak with love. You get more flies or more bees with honey. Get out of here with that junk. And then Isaiah said, my brothers and my sisters, he says, cry aloud. I want to say that's Isaiah 55. And spare not, lift up your voice like a trumpet, and tell my people about their wickedness. Cry aloud, lift up thy voice like a trumpet. Say nothing about whisper and talk lovingly. Get out of here with that lying foolishness. So all of you guys who are bought into that, it's time to now to denounce that lie and that foolishness. There's a word for men who have effeminate tendencies. There is a destination for effeminized men. These soft-spoken men, these non-offensive men, the new breed of men. There's a destination for you. Let's go down here. Let's follow me to 1 Corinthians. Okay, go right on in here. 6 and 9. All right. Oh, and by the way, I'm in the book. All right. Here it goes. He said, "Know you not that the unrighteousness shall not inherit the kingdom of Elohim. And don't be deceived, neither fornicators, idolaters, adulterers, nor the effeminate. Effeminate means cross-gender, transgender, metrosexual dresses, all of that. If anything that looks like a male, any tendency that a man has that's female related, you're effeminate. He said, nor the effeminate, nor the abusers of themselves with mankind, mean homosexuality, nor thieves, the covetous, the drunkards, nor the revilers, these are the party animals, extortioners, these are you guys who go out here manipulating and cheating and coming up with all kind of your little money scams to cheat people out of their money, charging them more than you should be charging them for services and goods, shall inherit the kingdom of Elohim. In other words, anyone that falls under this scripture, your ass is going to hell. So if this effeminate thing that this brother's over there preaching, it will get you straight to hell, sisters and brothers. You better rise up. You better speak aloud. You better cry aloud. You better act like you got some conviction. You better act like you got some what do you got? You got some skin in the game. When somebody got skin in the game, it's like playing a card game or gambling. If you know you got some skin in it, you got some money on that table, you're not gonna be looking off over there trying to see, what your buddies are talking about 3 tables over. You're gonna be focused right there where you are. We don't have time for these kind of little petty distractions. Oh, be kind, be nice, when all hell is breaking out on us. And it's going to get worse. Now that's the book. And you're getting it, and you're getting it pure, unadulterated. In other words, no watering down of the truth. Now man up, both men and women. Get in our right minds. And again, if he give you the word to preach, you need to preach it loud. You don't need to spare anybody's feeling, and you need to speak it with conviction. And you need to be willing to stand on what you said. And if you got to die for it, many of us will, you had better be prepared to do so. DFG, talk to you later. Bye now.